Tess Ingram, who joins us live from central Gaza, I believe. She's a spokesperson for UNICEF. And Tess, as we heard, in this exchange that's just taking place as we speak, it's believed that there are 30 child detainees, Palestinians, who will be released by Israel. Just explain to us the extent to which children are being caught up in this conflict, the number of children detainees that Israel has taken.
Yes, thank you. The news is very good indeed. We welcome the news of children being released from detention. Children should be reunited with their families as soon as possible. This is key, and UNICEF has really called for the end of child detention in all of its forms because it can have significant impact on a child's well-being, particularly their social and emotional health. And as you say, children have been caught up in this conflict, both here in the Gaza Strip and in the West Bank in Palestine. I'm here in Gaza City today, and I can tell you that there are so many children who are still in desperate need in the north of Gaza, despite the ceasefire, despite having returned to their homes. I'm seeing children without shoes, children without warm enough clothes. It's still very cold here. And of course, children with significant scars, both physical and emotional.
And we believe that today is the day that UNRWA's assistance is being completely cut off. What difference is that going to make to the needs of the children where you are now in Gaza?
We've been saying this for a long time, but no entity but UNRWA has the capacity to deliver the urgent assistance that children need. UNRWA is so key here in the Gaza Strip. And so without UNRWA, it's like removing the backbone from the humanitarian response. It's very difficult for the rest of the limbs to continue operating in the way that they have been. And right now, in this moment of a ceasefire, when we have such opportunity to really escalate aid and make sure that people are receiving supplies and services that they've been waiting 15 months to receive, it's critical that UNRWA can remain here, remain operational, remain that backbone of the humanitarian response. So, look, it really remains to be seen what sort of negative impact would occur if UNRWA was forced to leave. We're hoping that that's not going to be the case, but as you say, we are right on that deadline.
There are so many different questions I could ask you about the different areas in which children suffer in this conflict. But just because we were talking about those 30 Palestinian detainees who've been released, children, and I was just wondering, some of them, when they're released, may find out that they've been orphaned. And I just wondered, do we know how many orphans there are and what happens to them?
Yeah, to me, this is one of the saddest aspects of this conflict is the number of separated children, whether they've been pulled apart from their families or, as you say, orphaned. UNICEF estimates that there are about 19,000 unaccompanied and separated children here in the Gaza Strip before the ceasefire. And there's now both good and bad news in this moment of a ceasefire. The good news is that with many families being able to move north, we're seeing some families reunite. We're seeing children and their parents who were separated north-south come back together. And that's really joyful. But also this mass movement of people has resulted in separation. We are aware of hundreds of children who over the last 72 hours have been separated in that mass movement and are now lost. So we are trying to reunify them with their families as well. And we were putting identification bracelets on children under 4 years old to try and help in that process. If a child did get lost, it's easier for us to reconnect them with their loved ones.
And as you described the conditions there, I mean, they are unimaginable for most people, and there is still so much work that needs to be done, clearly, and so much aid that is needed. But from the figures that I saw coming from your organisation, the worst appears to be over, because the numbers that you were putting out, that 35 children have been dying every day before this ceasefire came along. So, I mean, it's so crucial, isn't it, that the truce is able to hold?
The stakes here are so high, and I'm sure, as all of your viewers know, the 15 months up until now has been complete catastrophe for children. We're talking about children who've been crushed to death while waiting for flour, children who've frozen to death at night, who've starved in their mother's arms, who've died of diseases that they shouldn't have contracted because they weren't immunized. And of course, the bombs and the bullets have also killed so many children. So this really is a high-stakes ceasefire for kids, because at the moment we are seeing some respite from at least the bombs and the bullets, and with the aid coming in, we're dealing with some of those humanitarian crises as well. So the longer it's sustained, the better the situation here will be for those kids.
Tess, thank you so much for speaking to us. We greatly appreciate it. Tess Ingram is a spokesperson for UNICEF, joining us there from Gaza City, and this is the scene right